Welcome to the second section of ISoNTech. We have another three presenters, two of whom are going to be joining us virtually, but I'm very, very pleased that we have Teresa Brodniewicz, nearly, in the room from MTZ Clinical. So, Teresa.
Good afternoon. It's nice weather outside, so probably some of participants already are enjoying the warm weather outside and sun in Warsaw.
Stand a bit closer to the microphone.
And in Warsaw. I would like to say that in spite of harm coming from smoking habits, people like to smoke, and they smoke a lot. And they expect interesting product on the market. They are expecting interesting products on the market, new products. And these products need to be tested by clinical trials before they are put on the market. These clinical trials, in this particular case, are medical experiment. On this map, you can see the current data from the website clinicaltrials.gov, very reliable page, which indicates how many clinical trials, medical experiments with smoking nicotine-containing products are taking place, and as you can see, it's more than 450 right now, worldwide. And the majority of them is taking place in the States. But as you also can see, more than 100 is in Europe. As I said, people are smoking and they want new products, interesting products, and we listened today already about pouches and some other products as well. So there is the pressure from the society, but also there are requirements from the regulatory authorities and from the medical authorities that the products getting on the market must be safer and safer, and of course society expects them more interesting than they were before. Because of this, the studies which are taking place right now are much more challenging than they were even a few years ago. And they are not so easy to be performed, which I'm going to say a little bit more about this. What are the challenges? One of the challenges is the healthy smokers. Healthy smokers who can participate in the study only, and usually they must have at least 23, 25 years. They should smoke at least for 5 years, and they should smoke at least about 20 cigarettes per day. It's very difficult during qualification process to find such persons who won't participate in the study. Especially also that respiratory parameters are being tested very carefully as well. During the study, our studies, variety of products is being tested, starting from chewing gum, cigarettes, pouches, very different electronic smoking devices. There's also a very important question, what type of the product will be used as the reference product and how they should be tested, at what points different parameters should be taken, and how to compare them. That's a challenge. What is important in these studies that the standards, the quality applied through the whole study is exactly the same as it is for the clinical trials of medicinal products. There is I would say sometimes even there is a high pressure on very good documentation of all procedures, even stronger than in case of studies of medicinal products. All procedures must be performed in a highly standardized way across each cohort and across the whole study. It means then let's say we have the whole population of the study, 150 people. We divide them, let's say, into 6 cohorts, 25 persons per each cohort. And during one day, there are hundreds of different procedures. And these procedures must be performed the same way every day across the whole time of the study. And sometimes these people even stay in the facility for 7 days or more in order to be under a good control. Here is a first picture from the site. We are getting to the study, 2 cabinets, smoking cabinets, and one of the person is providing the tested products. There is a quality control personnel, there are coordinators. One of the coordinators among us is sitting in the cabin as well. And in the further cabin is volunteers just waiting for the procedures to be started. This is, I would like to draw your attention also to big, huge tables of all procedures which are pasted all over, and they are prepared in different ways. So we can really follow all procedures exactly on the time, on the indicated time. What's being used, what methodology is being used during the study? We do a lot of smoking topography. This sometimes a nightmare for our staff, because these products very often do not fulfill our expectations or the expectation of the study, and sometimes it might be quite stressful. What is important in the basic during this type of studies is a very frequent blood sampling, even every 2 minutes. Those are the samplings for PK assessment and also for safety parameters assessment. And sometimes they might be done at the same time, sometimes they can be different. It's very important that, as we know, the half-time of nicotine is quite short. So the time between blood collection and processing and freezing the plasma for further assessment must be very short. What is also quite important that also during this time we are doing ECG assessment, vital signs. And also our volunteers are kindly requested to fulfill tons of different questionnaires at the same time, at the time when they smoke, and also in periods in between, and also to compare on different type of scales, their satisfaction, and so on. And all is done under the supervision of a primary investigator who mainly looks at the safety of the whole procedures. Here is just the example. And I will say a couple of few words about the protocol. It's been designed by a medical writer of certain project. As you may see, during pre-dose, so it means before the administration of the first product, several procedures should take place at the same time. So blood sampling for PK, blood sampling for safety parameters, urine sampling, ECG, human heart rate and blood pressure and vital signs and whatever. Everything should be done at the same minute. And of course, someone has designed like this. It's impossible to do like this. And if someone persists that it has to be done like this, unfortunately, there will be deviations into the protocol, which is not highly desirable. This is, for instance, the example, the 5th day. At 8 o'clock also all these procedures followed by breakfast and also physical exam. Everything should be done basically at the same time. What is important to obtain the valuable data? It's, first of all, of course, it's a well-designed and doable protocol. This is what I just said a few words in a few words before, doable protocol. Very important is to consult the protocol with the study team in order to avoid unnecessary mistakes. Also the other part is to have participating very carefully qualified healthy smoking volunteers. It's not the question of their health, but also the question of their willingness to participate in the study, open for the adventure, trying different products, different tastes, different smells, aromas, because if this does not happen, they do not cooperate, they are very unhappy, and the study doesn't go well. So during qualification procedures also we have checked to make sure that the people will want to participate for 7 days, locked in the site, and to do whatever we tell them to do. The other thing is very important is large experienced team and coordinating team and medical team, and to do everything on time. Every minute has to be very carefully watched, that this minute, this procedure needs has to take the place. And also some modern equipment, reliable and certified, and also like special smoking cabinets that are needed for the study. Prior to initiate the study, the different things we need to do to make sure that we are able to perform study with 20 people, with hundreds of procedures, and with tens of procedures during the same time. We do mock trainings. We assign responsibilities for everybody within certain frames of time. We define the flow. We define how long does it take from the blood sampling tests up to the bringing it to the laboratory and proceeding them. And finally, all conditions, all procedures must be highly standardized. One of the things important is a nice food, because it's important, as I said, to have happy volunteers. And here is another picture, and this is, as I mentioned, we have a happy volunteer here. Also, the team is happy. This is a pharmacist who is dispensing according to the table of different product being tested. This is a diagnostician who came up to pick up blood samples to be processed. We don't see the quality persons, and there are coordinators coordinating the movement, subjects to come to the cabin and to fulfill the questionnaires. So there's a lot of movement at the same time. All this helps us to get high quality, reliable data. And on behalf of our team, I would like to thank you, and I'm open for questions.
Thank you very much, Teresa. And one of the fundamental principles of GFN is good food as well. So we hope that everyone enjoys the catering here. Are there any questions for Teresa? At the back there.
Hi, this is Sen from BAT. I have a question about the patient selection that you presented in one of the first slides about 25 years of history of smoking and healthy individuals. Why do they have to be that cohort of people? Can they not have fewer years of smoking experience, or people with health conditions? Why does it have to be that particular patient population?
The question is, why do we cohort people and we don't do them individually?
No. Why do you select people with 25 years of smoking history and healthy people? 5
years of smoking history.
Oh, okay.
This is the 5 years. Usually, those are the protocol requirements. Usually, that need to have 5 years. Well, because important is not to force people not smoking to do the study, to participate in the study. Also, as you know, we pay for this participation because this is not a medicinal product. Yes? So in order to avoid the exposition of healthy people to the harmful products, this is what usually in protocols is at least 5 years of smoking, which means if he started to smoke at 18, we are not interested if he started to smoke at 15. If he starts smoking at 18, so it takes about 5 years, 23, those are requirements minimum. But we prefer to take older people, but they cannot take younger than 23 years old. And also with the proven history of smoking at least 20 cigarettes. No, it's important that he has a certain load of nicotine in his body before that he has been exposed already to this type of the products.
That's kind of my question is, why do you choose a specific patient population when the smoking is, it's not real world data, right? You're very self-selecting in your inclusion criteria. Why is that? That's my question.
We are not taking patients, we are taking healthy subjects.
So that's my question is, why do you not have different cohorts of smokers with different health conditions rather than choosing one particular cohort of smokers who are healthy?
I understand. Well, probably there are this type of studies. I don't know. We always had the study with healthy subjects.
Okay. Are there any other? Thank you.
So, sorry, if I could just add to that and help Teresa out a little bit here. I think the challenges of doing these types of studies in unhealthy people it's ethically very, very difficult. It's a minefield. And the sorts of studies I think that Teresa is talking about is characterizing nicotine uptake, characterizing exposure, exposure to cigarette smoke toxicants. And you can do those studies in healthy people and kind of map that onto the general population. But generally for the kind of the regulatory type studies, they're always done in healthy people. I think the industry is migrating, and certainly we're seeing companies now doing studies, respiratory studies in people with lung disease, and we will begin to see that coming. But the industry hasn't done those studies to date.
Not yet, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other points? I'm not seeing any hands up. So, in the middle here.
Hi, so I'm Ben Kelsey. I'm from a company called Cambridge Lion Partnership. I'm not a clinical expert, as you'll probably tell by this question, but you've been doing it for 20 years. How has it changed in the last 20 years, and what do we know through the processes that we apply now that we wouldn't have known 20 years ago through the practices? And that's obviously tobacco, not e-cigarettes focused. And then if we were to have this conversation in, say, 10 or 20 years' time, do you think we'd be using the same methods and same approach, or will it change again?
Yes, I can't say 20 years ago. The first study we did, it was about, I believe, 8 or 9 years ago. There was much less procedures testing safety and aiming to prove the safety of the product, and also the biohazardous aspects were also not so widely addressed as they are being addressed now. There were no so frequent sampling like we do now. And the other safety evaluating procedures. That's certainly, it's much more intense now when we have the subjects studies during the study than it was a couple of years ago. Just to get as many as many as we can.
Brilliant. Do you mind if I ask another question based on that? We touched upon like real world and longitudinal data. Do you think there's a role for digital biomarkers in future, so data gained from smartwatches or things of that ilk?
I think we are using some of this type of devices for, everybody comes with different devices, and we are checking and testing different, and also the way of transforming them from, let's say, we know that when he started to smoke the first cigarette at home, because the studies are different. Some of them that we do inside, and some of them people are getting products and they should do it at home. So those are advantages and disadvantages of each approach. But there are different digitalized type of equipment allows us to follow on the study procedures, for instance. Yes.
I could
Thank
see there
you.
was
I
one
promise that's
question
the
at the
last
end.
one.
If I could ask you to keep it short, because I've allowed this to run a little bit.
Hi, I'm Kim McLaughlin from Sweden, strangely. My question is, how do you find these people? I mean, we've just heard how amazingly difficult the hoops that they have to jump through.
Oh, this is not that difficult. We are the company, we are on the market for more than 20 years right now, and we have database, yeah? So we have subjects, we have our website, and for several already years, and in this website we invite people to enroll to fulfill the questionnaire in order if they want to participate in the study. And also we are asking them if they are smokers or not smokers. So in our database we have more than 4,000 volunteers willing to participate in the smoking study. So when the study comes, we are contacting them and selecting them for the qualification procedures and so on and so on. They need to, of course, to respond to the requirements of the given study.
Thank you.
Teresa, thank you very much. We'll let you go.